The jazz blues progression is one of the most important progressions you can learn as a jazz guitar player. Everyone from Louis Armstrong to Charlie Parker to John Coltrane to Pat Metheny has played and recorded over this progression, and in today's lesson I'm going to show you how you can improvise over the progression using some static blues ideas. So pick up your guitars and let's do this. Greetings jazz guitar gurus, my name is Jamie Holroyd. I am the founder of jamieholroydguitar.com, which is a blog, video lessons, ebooks and Patreon page, all geared to helping you become a better jazz guitar player. And if you haven't done so already, please consider hitting that subscribe button, then you'll get free access to all the free lessons which I post here on YouTube. So welcome to today's class. What we're going to be talking about is how to improvise over the jazz blues progression, and if you'd like to get the PDF for any of the examples that I'm talking about, that is available over at my Patreon page, which is listed and linked in the description below. So what I'm going to be showing you is how to improvise over a jazz blues progression using some bluesy ideas to begin with. So let's dig into these concepts and begin the class. When you first look at a jazz blues progression, they can seem like there's a lot of harmonic content. There's major 2/5s, minor 2/5s, there's a 1/6-2/5 at the end, and it can seem like you need to know a lot of bebop licks and things to get your way around this progression, but that really isn't true. At the core, this is really still just a 1/4/5 progression, and the good thing about jazz and jazz musicians is that what we do is we basically can outline this chord changes at different levels. So for example, we can improvise over this just using blues ideas, which is what I'm going to show you today, but we can also incorporate some of that stuff as well, which I'm going to be showing you how to do in the next lesson. So the first thing I'd recommend, if you don't know this already, is to make sure that you're comfortable with a blues scale. I'm sure many of you are, but I've included a tab for this just in case. So here's how a blues scale sounds in B flat. So a 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so that's a B flat blues scale. Now personally, what I found from listening and transcribing to the great players and from my own playing is that this B flat blues scale can be somewhat limiting, because really when you look at jazz phrases, they don't always come just directly from that one scale. So what I've also tabbed out here is something called a hybrid blues scale, and I'd suggest that you use this as a reference for creating your lines and for analysing the licks which I've wrote out, rather than a blues scale. So here is how the hybrid blues scale sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. In that scale, you'll hear that the blues scale is still there, but we have some chromatic notes as well. So we've got the first two notes are the same, we have a B flat and then a D flat, then we have some chromatic motion between the third of the chord, going to the fourth, the sharp 5, then the fifth, then we have the flat 7th, okay? And obviously the second octave is the same. So adding some chromatic notes in there will help you generate some more jazz blues type language. So as I said, it's a good idea to have some ideas just over a B flat chord first that really swing and sound jazzy. So if you're coming from a traditional blues background, you want to avoid using things like bends, replace those with slides and slurs and maybe even hammer-ons, rather than using bends and a massive wide vibrato. That's going to get you in the right ball camp already. So here is the first line that demonstrates some of these things. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. A little bit slower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So this lick starts on the root, we've got a minor third to major third there, and then we have the fifth to the sixth, and then the root again. Static blues lick number 2 uses some chromatic notes, and it sounds like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So this lick starts on the root, then we have the minor third to the major third, then we have fourth, then we have the flat 5, then we're going all the way to the 5th. So like I said, the chromatic motion is very, very popular in jazz blues phrases. And then to finish this lick, we're back at the root, to the 4th, back to the root, kind of using the root as a pedal, and then minor to major thirds. So again, examples of that hybrid scale. I have some chromatic motion in there and the minor to major third motion. So this lick one more time sounds like this. Static blues lick number 3 sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit slower. Alright, so this lick once again uses many of the same things. We're starting on the 4th this time. We're going 4th to 5th, minor third to major third, going to the root, then the 5th, and then we're going to the 4th there. Then we're finishing on the C note, which is the 2nd, and then we've got a slide from the minor third in the low octave this time, going to the major third, and then we're clipping the root at the very end. So very laid back, down home bluesy lick, that one. Static blues lick number 4 is a Grant Green lick, and it sounds like this. Once more. So I have some raking going on there for this one. It's probably the most technically challenging, and I've included this one here as a bit of a bonus just to show a different area of the fingerboard as well. So I'm playing this lick really, I think, based off this triad right here, which is a B flat triad. I'm sliding into the 5th, then clipping the root, 3rd, and then I'm jumping to the 6th of the chord, the G natural, then I'm going to the 3rd, and then I'm going to the 5th. So that first part, and for the first couple of notes there, I'm using consecutive downstrokes when I'm jumping across the strings. So, and then probably moving more into alternate picking when I have notes on the same string. So that's the first half of the lick. The second half of the lick sounds like that. So it starts the exact same way, sliding into the 5th, going into the root there, 3rd, 4th, 3rd again, root, then 5th. So both parts together sound like this. For the next 4 licks, what I've done is I've written these as part of a jazz blues etude so that you can hear them in context. What I've done is I've also included some chords with these as well, which are shell voicings. I have a video about those, which I'll list and link there in the card so you can check these out. And combining the bluesy lines and the chords together is very much in the style of players such as Kenny Burrell, and it's a good use of these jazz lines. So I'll play it for you first, then I'll break down some of the phrases. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so I hope you enjoyed that one. What's going on here is that I'm starting the sequence there with a B flat 7 shell voicing, playing that twice with a Charleston rhythm. Then I've got a blues scale phrase. Then I've got the chords again, same rhythm. Then I've just got a descending blues scale starting on the B flat there, going into the E flat 7, Charleston rhythm yet again. Then I've got a pedal lick, which sounds like that. Then I'm back at the B flat, Charleston rhythm. And then I've got a lick which moves into the next position of the B flat blues scale. Eric Clapton certainly made a career out of that lick. Then at that point in the progression, I'm on the F7 chord, the 5 chord. And then I've got a kind of descending blues figure as well. Once again, a Charleston rhythm on B flat. And then a little decisive figure to end the etude. So hopefully from this you can actually hear that you don't necessarily need all the fancy bebop licks and things like that to sound good over a jazz blues. And I think that by just having some jazz vocabulary like that, which is over static chords, which has a few chromatic notes, minor thirds to major thirds, you can sound pretty good over a jazz blues. So what I would suggest you would do if you was a private student would be to try and maybe play for a few choruses only using the ideas and the concepts from these lines and seeing how much mileage you can get from those. Because what you've got to do with these solos is you've got to pace yourself out, right? So say if you have got all this great bebop stuff and things like that, then you don't want to go full steam ahead with that straight away, or else you're going to burn out in like the third chorus. So if you can maybe get a chorus or two from just using B flat blues ideas, then slowly start to add some of the jazz stuff, then that's a much better way of pacing yourself out rather than going full on with the second approach, which is much more harmonically dense. So I would say that yeah, you want to try and get really comfortable just improvising over the static chords to begin with. And hey, this is something that Charlie Parker does as well. Check out some of Charlie Parker's blues tunes, and Charlie Parker was a great blues player, so he had an abundance of great blues licks. So what did you think of these jazz blues licks? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below, and what do you think of this approach? The second installment of this will be released shortly after this video, so if you're watching this after the fact, then I'll include a link to the second part where we talk about outlining some of the chord changes as well. So thank you very much for watching and good luck with your practice.